Hey guys, welcome to the Paint with Lovejoy website. This is the place for first-time and beginners to get comfortable with the painting process. If you have never painted, I am definitely the teacher for you. I will give you permission to play, to create with your hands, and I do consider this adult kindergarten, where you get to make memories with yourself or with loved ones. And you will notice that creative time is something that you will reference for the rest of your life. I do encourage you to send me photos of your paintings. And when you're done with my YouTube videos, please check out my Paint Your Pet course for even more in-depth and kind of my signature class. It's a lot of fun. Before we get started, I want to say thank you for being you. And I also want to give you permission to play today. I'm going to encourage that you take a lot of progress photos, and I do recommend that you turn off your distractions. Put your phone on mute. Please know that mistakes will happen. We call them happy accidents. And I'm going to encourage you to breathe throughout the painting process. Here are your recommended supplies and the colors for this particular video. This video also has a traceable, a line drawing at the beginning, and you can either purchase the traceable and transfer, or you could pause the video and draw it freehand, whichever you feel comfortable doing. Again, progress photos are important. And I'm going to encourage that you pause and play the video as much as you need and rewatch anything that you want. Now let's go ahead and get started painting. All right, guys, so a good place to take your first progress photo. We're going to be using the flat brush and a mixture of white and blue paint. We're going to start with a light blue and we'll work our way darker towards the top of the canvas. Now I'm using that medium flat brush, and I do recommend that you apply your paint maybe a little thicker than you may be comfortable. You do want to make sure that you fill in all the texture of that canvas. Now, if you happen to overlap the traceable lines, totally okay. Same if you overlap the traceable lines for the Chapel of the Holy Cross. You can always paint over it. So don't stress. I'm really glad you showed up today to get creative. Do remember to breathe. We do tend to hold our breath when we're doing something new for the first time or we're nervous. And this is just painting. I just want you to relax and have fun. Now, if you have to mix your shade of light blue a second or third time, don't stress about the exact same shade. We're going to go a little bit darker in a moment, and we're going to work our way to being a little bit darker towards the top of the canvas. Now, you do have permission if you want to change colors and do sunset colors or a different color sky, please feel free to do that. Now here you can see where I added a little bit more blue to my mixture, going 2 shades darker. And it doesn't matter if your color matches what's on the screen. I want you to go 2 shades darker than what you just used. So you're just using my video as a base guideline as you go through your process. Now I do want you to overlap the medium and the light blue, and where the two overlap, you can use light pressure with your brush and kind of blend and soften that line, soften that transition in between both colors. This is something that gets more comfortable with more practice. Again, remember to breathe. You're doing great. I'm really proud of you just for getting creative and having fun. And like I said earlier, if you have to mix this shade or color a second or third time and it's a little bit different, that's okay. It's actually to your benefit to have more varieties and shades in your background than just one flat, solid color. So hopefully that gives you permission to just kind of relax, embrace whatever it is that you're painting today, whatever shade you create. All right, doing great. So working our way towards the top. If you do happen to be on a stretched canvas, when your color reaches the edge of your canvas, just wrap that color around the side. This is a flat panel, so I don't need to do that here. And again, going 2 shades darker, adding a little bit more blue to that mixture, and going 2 shades darker than what you were just using. Again, it may be a little different than what's on the screen. Nice. And you do want to work with your paint while it is wet. That's why we do some of the blending. And generally with acrylic paint, you have about a 10, maybe a 15-minute window to work with your paint before it starts to dry. Right, and we're getting darker. Once I get towards the top of the canvas, I will be using that direct blue by itself, that darker blue. If you're already at the point where you're using your direct blue, when we move into the next step, you can do a mixture of blue and purple or even blue and red. Your call, just for what you need. So again, here, just taking that direct blue, filling in the remaining top portion of the canvas, and just kind of squaring that sky away in our background. Now, if you need to turn your canvas sideways or upside down because it makes it easier, please feel free to do that. Adjust for what you need. And now I want you to go ahead, play with the background. If you want to go back to that light blue, if you want to work on some of your blending, if you want to add something else into it, to do everything to your background now while the paint's still wet, and then we'll be moving into some shades for the rock formation, holding up this structure. All right, take a progress photo. You're doing a great job. You're going to clean your brush really good. And we're going to start moving into the shades for our rock formation. And we're going to start with yellow with a little bit of orange, hanging out more on the yellow-orange side. And what we're going to do is I'm basically going to be painting blobs. In the painting world, it's so easy to paint a blob. So I just want you to think of these as color shapes, as blobs. Feel free to pause the video as much as you need to observe the shape that I make, the weird abstract shape or blob that I make, and the general place that I put it on the canvas. And all I want you to do is mimic that to the best of your ability. And again, totally okay if your colors look a little different than what is on the screen. If you need to, you can pause the video, take a screenshot, and then you can zoom in closer if you need to see some more details or closer details. Now here, I'm moving into the direct orange, again, going 2 shades darker than what I was just using, and still placing these blobs, these abstract shapes around our prior colors and in a few new areas. Our next color will be red and orange. And be sparing with your red. A little bit of red goes a long way. But again, we're still going 2 shades darker than what you were just using. So you're starting to kind of see my formula here. It is okay if you overlap some of the prior colors, and you can even soften the line, the transition between the colors like you did with the sky, if you want to. Again, if you have to make that shade as darker or lighter, completely okay. As you do this, you are strengthening your power of observation as you watch where I place this on the screen and then mimic that to the best of your ability at home. This is strengthening your observation skills. All right, so here I'm going to move in with some red and purple, and same with the red. A small amount of purple goes a long way to make our color. So start off sparingly, and you can always add more pigment. And this is a bit of our shadow element. I am placing it on top of some other colors and in some new areas. So again, just observe general place I put it. If you're inclined to put this color somewhere I do not, go right ahead and do that. I do encourage that you trust your instincts. Now, because my paint is still wet, you may notice that as you're applying this on top of another color, it may pick up some of that color and create a new color. Embrace that. Just kind of play with it. Remember to breathe. You're doing great. You can take more progress photos if you prefer. You're doing awesome. Again, pause that video, observe the shapes that you see. We're going to go back to some prior colors, going back to just the direct red and applying that. And we'll go back to some of the orange and even yellow orange. Here we go. We're going back to red orange. And again, just kind of backtracking and filling in the space. Our goal at this point is to get rid of all that canvas space, and then we'll be making another color for the frame and structure of the Chapel of Holy Cross. And this is a location in Sedona, Arizona, and it is quite a popular tourist destination. So as the little prompt up there said, it's okay to paint a little messy, get a little sloppy. We have so many areas in our life that we're expected to be perfect, so this is your place to be sloppy and a little messy, and it's a lot of fun. All right, another spot to take your progress photo. Gonna fill in just a few other places with the canvas. Any place that you can see the white canvas showing, just slap your orange or your red orange on there somewhere. Now I'm going in with direct purple. I'm going to intensify some of those shadows. And if you need to, you can move to the pointy brush or a smaller flat brush, your call. And again, here I'm just kind of intensifying the shadows. This would be the crevices of the rock, the different places where the light isn't hitting it. Again, pause the video, take a screenshot, and you can zoom in closer to observe some of the places that I put this. And also trust your instincts. If you want to put something somewhere I do not, for it. And this is a very impressionistic style painting. And the nice thing about an impressionistic style painting is it can be kind of sloppy. It's crazy colors next to each other sometimes. But when you look at this painting from across the room about 5 to 10 feet away, you're like, wow, that looks pretty cool. Or I can tell exactly what that is. Things tend to look a little bit better from a distance, especially in art. So kind of give yourself a get out of your chair and look at your painting from a distance and see what that looks like. So here, we're actually going to take a bit of a break. I want you to let your paint dry. We'll come back to painting it and finishing the details right after I have a nice little ad for my Paint Your Pet class. And I've been teaching this class for about 15 years. It is my most favorite class to teach. And I do teach it to first-time and beginner painters. If you've never painted, I definitely am the teacher to introduce you to your creativity and help encourage you by painting something that you love. And all my students do an amazing job. So check out the Paint Your Pet course, check out the discount code. It's fun to do it with friends, do it with your family. I teach in Sedona and in San Diego and online. So try to have something out there for everybody. And you can paint your pet or favorite animal. The only animal you cannot paint is a human. So you will impress your pet and yourself with my course. I have very easy, logical steps to follow in person and online. So here's my favorite part of the ad is when we get to see all the pets and their paintings. And I do ask all my students to send me these photos. Just look how proud the pets are and look at what a great job each of my students did in capturing the likeness of their. So check out the Paint Your Pet course and let's get back into painting. So look at your painting from a distance of about 10 feet away. Notice how you feel. We're going to come back and add to it and continue the fun. All right, so I'm using the medium flat brush. You can use your pointy brush. We've got white with a little bit of raw sienna, going for kind of a creamy color. You could use solid black and do a bit more of a silhouette option if you want to do that. So feel free to switch out your color. And I am using that medium flat brush sideways, so I'm trying to use the full width of the brush, and I am overlapping the background a little bit. So what you want to do is kind of use even, consistent pressure with your brush. Take your time, breathe. You want to kind of exhale as you touch your brush to the canvas, and that's going to help steady out your hand and your line. If you want to practice this on your Traceable or on a scrap sheet of paper, that is only to your benefit. And if you happen to mess up and maybe you have a wiggly line, then that just means your building is dancing and very happy. So just come up with a story for whatever your painting might turn out. Again, exhale as you touch the brush to the canvas, and it's going to help steady out your hand. And for the video, I keep this in the same orientation, but if you need to turn it sideways, put it on your lap, put it flat on the table, do what you need to do to adjust to make this process easier for you. You're doing great, almost done with that last line, and that last line is going to go down in between the rocks. This helps kind of secure the architecture and structure of the church. All right, great job. We do have more lines that we're going to be doing. Um, so I'm just kind of filling in the last little bit of the details, but then we're going to be using the pointy brush and black paint and getting the lines for the windows. There. Just going over any area that there might still be white canvas showing. So do take your progress photo. And again, we're going to move over to the black paint and pointy brush. And we're going to go ahead and actually do the outlines on the rocks. These are optional. And I like to do these for my particular audience because I usually have first time and beginner painters. And when we do this outline for my students, it kind of helps clean up the lines. So in your beginning stages, this is a nice process to have. But if you get to the point where you don't need to do your outlines, you can completely skip this step. All right, and as we do the outlines, we're basically going over what was done for the traceable. Um, these don't have to be perfect lines. I'm holding my brush almost perpendicular to the canvas and using just the last couple millimeters of the brush, treating it kind of like a pencil and trying to keep that even pressure. Again, does not have to be perfect. And we're just kind of giving the illusion of chopping up some of these lines. So like with the earlier step, pause the video, notice where I place a shape or a line, mimic that to the best of your ability, add what you want if you're inclined to add anything extra, and if needed, pause the video, take your screenshot, and zoom in for closer details. You're doing great. A few tips about working with the pointy brush. If you're noticing that your brush strokes are getting whiter and whiter, sometimes that means you have a lot of buildup on your brush. So either wipe off some of the excess paint or fully clean your brush, and that'll bring the bristles back together and back grab more paint. All right, another spot for a progress photo. You're doing great. I'm really proud of you. Now here I'm going to add a touch of water to the pigment, to the black paint, to make it a little bit more fluid. Because these I am going for very tiny lines. I highly recommend that you practice this on a scrap sheet of paper before jumping right into the canvas. You do have the option, you can use a Sharpie marker, a fine point Sharpie marker for this step if you want to. And I would recommend that super, super fine point compared to the medium tip Sharpie marker. So again, we're just kind of laying in the frame structure for the windows here on the Chapel of the Holy Cross. And again, exhale as you touch the brush to the canvas. Take your time. This is not a race. I don't care how fast you do this. It is to your benefit to breathe, relax, and go at your pace. And with that being said, embrace what you create today. See, even the line I just did right there, a little wiggly. That's okay. We're going to embrace it. It just means there's people dancing in this structure, so it's making the building move. So whatever your creative results are, come up with a story that adds to it. Maybe not an excuse, but come up with a story as to why your building might be dancing, why it may be shaped that way. And I recommend, highly recommend, that you paint this again, especially if you struggled with a painting. Paint it again, because you'll be amazed at the second time that you paint it, how much easier it is, how much better you are at it, and how you're a little more comfortable with the process. And sometimes that's worth it to paint the painting again just to feel that accomplishment. So don't feel like you have to just paint it once and that's all you got. You can paint this as many times as you want. And it's nice to have those aha moments that go, I am getting better at this. Okay, cool. So find those moments in your life that you can do that for yourself and go, I'm doing better than I thought I was. We all need those moments. So here as I'm laying the horizontal lines for the windows, notice we've got two vertical lines that create 3 spaces, and then trying to alternate the lines in between. If your lines line up between all 3 of the window panes, again, totally okay. All right, doing a great job. Add anything that you want. If you want to put birds in the sky, if you want to put some extra highlights on here, if you want to put some people walking up the side of the mountain, feel free to add anything extra that you want to make this painting unique to yourself. You can put your name, you can put a message in the sky, anything you feel like it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to get creative. I'm really proud of you. I hope you feel a little bit better and more relaxed after this painting. I hope you are proud of yourself. And please do not wait too long to do your next painting. I highly recommend if you can paint once a month, if not once a week. It is only to your benefit. Please send me photos or tag me in your images. And definitely check out the Paint Your Pet course when you're ready to kind of take your stuff to the next level. Again, thanks so much. And until next time, cheers.